Ho ho ho, and welcome to my workshop. My name is Roy. I'm a home cook and amateur baker, and I'm here on this channel typically sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now I'm in Santa's workshop and I've stolen his clothes because today we are having a special edition of our No Tag Tuesdays just for Christmas. So this is a Christmas Day release, a little gift from us to you. All of the other people who are part of this tag will be down in the description box, so go check them out for some more festive holiday cheer. Now the entire group came up with the questions, everyone contributed questions, so I will tell you who came up with the question, read the question, and then respond to it. Now the first two happen to be mine. I sent them to Joan, who was compiling all of these from Joan's Pointed Plate. And I had basically done it as a two-part question, but she split it into two separate questions, which is fine, just gives us a little more to talk about. So let's start with the questions. Number one from me, as I said, how do you typically decorate your home for Christmas? Back in the day, I used to go all out decorating all over the place. I had various nativities that I would put all over the place. I had garlands. I would deck the place out. These days, it's just too much work. I can't bring myself to do it physically or mentally, just to bring it all out and then have to put it all back. So honestly, I don't really decorate that much anymore for Christmas. I have a little tree over here. I have a couple of little decorated trees that I had painted. I have our stockings hung, but aside from that, I don't really decorate anymore. I haven't even put up our big tree anymore since our grandson and his parents moved out. There didn't seem to be as much a need for a tree and putting it all up and taking it all down, so I used to go all out. I don't so much anymore. Now, number two is also from me. And this one is, do you have any special decorations or ornaments that you cherish? And boy, do I. I actually have a bunch of ornaments that I have arrayed out here. I also, as far as decorations, I have our Christmas stockings, and these are special because I had made them for everybody in my family. This one's from my father, this one's from my mother, who have both passed, so I hang those up every year. And this one is mine, this one's Paul. We also actually have another pair of stockings that I have made. So those are special, as are these trees that I have here. And I made these 2004 as a gift to Paul's mother. And when she began to have issues with Alzheimer's and had to get rid of her house to move in with her son, I took these back because I absolutely love them. But those are very special to me. I love having those. Now, as far as ornaments, I have a few, so I'm going to try to kind of bunch them together. Some that remind me of Paul is obviously this one that I made for him in 2003, and that's obviously got his name on it there. I also did this for our first Christmas together. It's just a little chalkboard that I put our names on, a little Santa in our first year, which was 2000, so we're coming up on our 23rd Christmas together. Also, to do with Paul, is this ornament that we picked up when we were in Ireland years ago. I think it was probably 20 years ago now. And I love that, as well as this little ornament from Ireland that we hang on the tree every year when we put up the tree. And this one we found in Montreal one year when we went up there for Christmas, and it was beautiful. So this is another one that's very special that I love putting out. I love seeing. It's just so ornate, and I love the outfit. It's just perfect. A few ornaments that really touch me are this one from my niece Jacqueline that she gave me in 1996 when she was 6 years old. I believe that they had this at a crafts fair at her school, and so she bought this for me, and I wrote on the back that it was from her and the year, and that I hung up every single year, and I absolutely love that. That has a lot of meaning to me, as does these odd little popsicle stick guys, little snowmen made out of popsicle sticks from my little nibblings, Morgan and Hunter. And those were from 2014, so 9 years ago. And they were, let's see if I can do the math, 4, maybe 5 at the time. So those are very special to me. And they also made me this one from their handprints. There's Morgan's, there's Hunter's, and that's from 2013. So I love that as well. This one is a special one because it was made by my best friend Nancy, who I used to call Sina Marie, and she made this out of a starfish, and I just love that. I would sit that on the branches of the tree. And also from my mother, who passed, I think it's 6 years ago now, this little rolling pin for obvious reasons, this little typewriter with Dear Santa and a little mouse because I love to write, and then in 1990 this little ornament that has my name on it. Now the rest are ones that I've made over the years. This one I made out of wrapping paper. Each of these little points is a different piece of wrapping paper. I don't even remember when I made this. It was probably 1980 something. It's a little yellowed with age, but I love that. This one I had on my tree as a child, but I had to revamp it and freshen it up, so I added a few little extra things in there just to make it a little brighter. But that one is from my childhood, so I love that. Then I have other ones that I've made more specifically for me. When I used to be able to paint, I used to love painting ornaments for people. Now my dexterity, my hands, they won't let me do it. But 1995, I made this little fella, and I just love the old-fashioned Santa Claus look there. Then I did this one in 96, a little bearded face. And then this one was also in 96, a little Santa star-shaped ornament that I love that I painted. I wish I could still do that, but I can't. So I think those are all of the ornaments and decorations, far more than I probably needed, but they all have a little special meaning for me. Okay, so question 3 comes from Val over at the Valerie Reese channel. Do you exchange gifts on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve? Now, when my mother was alive, we used to get together with my family on Christmas Eve, and we would exchange gifts then. And then on Christmas Day, we would exchange gifts with Paul's family, typically just his son, daughter-in-law, and our grandson, Brian. But that's what we would do, is one day, Christmas Eve would be with my family, Christmas Day would be with Paul's family. Now, what we've been doing lately is Christmas Day with Paul's family, and the day after with my family. My brother and sister will come and visit here so that I don't have to travel very far, and we'll exchange gifts then. Number 4 comes from Sandy over at Life with Sandy. We all know the importance of Christmas Day as the birth of Jesus Christ, but what makes this day special to you? Now, the first thing I thought of with this question was my nephew, Thomas, was born on Christmas Day. I believe he's 30 years old as of today. I'm recording this on Christmas Eve. And I think he's 30, because I believe he was born in 93. His sister was born in 90. So I think happy 30th birthday, Thomas, unless my math is off. But that is the one thing that really makes it special for me. Otherwise, I mean, there's obviously the family gatherings and things like that. The Christmases we used to do at Paul's family's house when we did those big dinners for 50 people that I've mentioned before. And I got to decorate all of the tables and the whole atmosphere. We did Wizard of Oz one year. We did Alice in Wonderland one year. We did Marie Antoinette one year. So that was always a lot of fun for me, is decorating those events for the holiday. So those are the main things that are special memories to me as far as Christmas is concerned. Now, number 5 comes from Joan over at Joan's Pointed Plate. 5 and 6 actually come from her. First, what is your favorite Christmas carol? I'm sure Kim is having as much trouble with this question as I am because neither of us are really into favorites. We have like a bunch of things we like, but typically picking a favorite is difficult. And I know it's controversial, but I really do love All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. I also enjoy Santa Baby from Eartha Kitt, and also Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. I like those peppy, upbeat kind of songs. So, I mean, I like pretty much all of them, but those would have to be the ones I like the most. Now, number 6, Joan asks, what is your least favorite Christmas carol? Now, I had to think about this one for a while, and I think, and I'm sorry for anybody who enjoys either of these songs, but the first one that came to mind is the 12 Days of Christmas, just because it is so repetitive and goes on and on and on. I've had enough by the time we're like at the golden rings. The other one, which I know a lot of people may balk at because it's a classic, people love it or they hate it. And I'm not saying I hate it, but as far as having to hear it, it's the least favorite is Dominic the Donkey. Hee-haw, hee-haw. Makes me insane. But I really don't mind any of them if they're in the background, but if I had to choose which ones I'd least like to listen to, those would be the ones. Number 7 comes from Danielle over at the Danielle Nicole channel, and it is, what is your favorite Christmas meal and why? Again, I have a hard time picking favorites. Paul is making this year prime rib. That's his favorite. I honestly, I guess I'm used to having some ham maybe, and I love Paul's scallop potatoes that he makes. It's a recipe, I believe, from America's Test Kitchen for holiday scallop potatoes. And they're delicious. And then, of course, Christmas cookies and things like that. Definitely eggnog. That's my time of year to have some eggnog. So I don't really have a favorite meal, but those are some of my favorite things to look forward to is a ham, scalloped potatoes, and of course, the desserts. Now, number 8 comes from Jason over at the Average J channel, and I'm assuming he came up with this question because he's in the military and has probably had to deal with this. But it is, have you ever spent Christmas without any family? And I never have. I've never been in the military, so that was never a reason. But we always get together at some point over the holiday with family. So I've never been in a holiday situation without family. Number 9 comes from Kim over at A Girl on Her Phone, and it is, does Santa leave your presents wrapped or unwrapped under the tree? Now, unless it's something big like a bike or a sled, which we have had on occasions, those might be unwrapped but with a bow. But other than that, we have always had our presents wrapped. So unless it was something large and unwieldy, everything was wrapped under our tree. Number 10, it comes from Edie over at Edie's Adventures, and it is there a Scrooge amongst your family or friends? I wouldn't say there's actually a Scrooge, somebody who just doesn't like Christmas, but as the years have gone on, I've kind of mellowed about Christmas. It's not that I don't like it, I've just kind of toned everything down. But as far as a Scrooge, nobody that I know of fits into that category where they're just like, ugh, Christmas, no. And there is a bonus question that comes from Terry over at the Terry W channel. Do you still hang your stockings? And if so, are they filled on Christmas Eve? Now, I showed you the stockings that I've made, and we do hang them every year. They're no longer filled. They used to be filled when we had our grandson living here. We would fill them up. And I always had so much fun going around trying to find things to fill up stockings. The problem is, a lot of the times, especially between Paul and I, it would be like we have a bunch of stuff that either we are going to eat and we shouldn't be, or they're things that get put aside and never looked at again. So we don't fill them anymore, but we used to for a very long time, and I used to love spending a few months going around and finding little trinkets to put into stockings, but no more. Oh, and I almost forgot that Paul had said when we were going over these questions, I'm surprised nobody mentioned anything about homemade gifts. Do you ever make homemade gifts? Do you enjoy homemade gifts? So I figured I would answer that for you as a bonus question. And the answer for me is yes, I used to love making homemade gifts. As you saw, I made those trees for Paul's mother one year. I used to love painting things and making things. I would often make cookies of all sorts and give those out as gifts. So I loved homemade gifts. And I love receiving them because it's more thought, more put into it than just buying something at the store. So I love homemade gifts. I loved giving homemade gifts, and I hope that you feel the same. Well, that wraps up our special Christmas Day No Tag Tuesday, which is actually on a Monday. But I hope that you'll check out the other channels that are doing this Christmas tag, even if you don't watch them on Christmas. Go check them out, find out what their answers are, and give them some subscription love if you can. And speaking of sharing the love, I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video, such as this one, which is coming up on Christmas Day. And Mondays aren't a typical day for me to post anything, so this was definitely one that you wanted the notification bell for. Also, while you're checking out the description box for the other channels doing this tag, I hope that you will look further and you'll find my blog, my Amazon storefront, Built Bar Rewards, Fetch Rewards, Skinny Syrups code, and my social media. If you'd like to follow me over there, there's my Instagram and 3 Facebook groups that I'm part of. So check out that description box for all sorts of information. And now, as I said, I'm recording this on Christmas Eve, so there's a lot more to do, so I'd better get going. But until next time, bye.